lot of parents look at it as an achievement when you get married as soon as possible. You have kids. You're like, oh, इससे पहले आपने बच्चे निपटा दिए, so nice. Oh, we can play with our grandkids. शादी की बात तुम उसे पुश कर देना, तुम उसको इस तरह मोल्ड कर देना, सब हो जाएगा. And then I was like, oh, wow, another project I have. Because I will have to tell him later, right? I'd rather tell him this right away. If it's such a big deal for him, then it's fine, you know.
Actually, better that he finds out earlier.
Yeah, the mother might not like it. Maybe guys also will judge you. Then I was like, absolutely. Take that thought, roll it in a paper, and I don't know, throw it so far away that no one can reach it.
So why do we think ignorance is bliss? Do you really think that it's better to marry the first person that you were ever with, or is it better to explore different people?
I am not in a position where I have found a person and I'm like, you know, he's the first one and I marry that person. So I can only talk about that. But I think, yeah, I wish I were in that position where he was the first person. I just married him and everything was like all flowery. But now I'm in a position where I have met so many people generally also. And I'm 30 now. So I'm in the arranged setting right now. I've landed myself in this market. So I know so much and I wish I did not know so much.
Tell us more. Why is that?
It's a clown show, guys. You actually learn a lot about yourself and about your family. And then you're like, oh, suddenly I just don't know my family. And they don't know me. Don't let this actually come to you and, you know, do not make this permanent. Go to your family and tell them this is who you are. That's what I did.
Right.
For the very first time, I went to my family and I told them, you know what, this is who I am. And I told them, I just do not care about a lot of things, honestly. I'm a carefree person. I do not take things so seriously. Whatever comes my way, I just like take it like, okay, just come in. I tell them this and they're like, so you should really find someone for yourself who also is like you. So I was like, yeah, sure. But finding the one is not always easy. But now I'm in a position where I'm gonna just think about it and make it complex and, you know, who's the one for me, you know, if I'm the one for him, all these questions. So it's actually a clown show and congratulations to all those who are not in this position. Good for you.
I think there are two sides to every story. I don't know. I feel like arranged marriage has been a really big part of Indian culture for generations. And it's the way that our great-grandparents, our grandparents, and maybe even our parents met each other. I think it used to serve a very different purpose and now society has kind of come far from that. But do you think that there are any benefits to the arranged marriage process? Are there any pros?
Yeah. So basically, now that we talk about our grandparents and our parents, I think arranged marriage is there for sure. But I think it has really changed, like how our grandparents met. They must have like met once and then they must have like decided, okay, we're gonna get married. Maybe it was the same for our parents, but like now I feel we have more autonomy in the whole process. Like if I talk about my experience, my parents introduced me to like these people, to these prospective matches, but they never forced me to like make my decision the first time I meet them. Like they tell me you can take your time, you can really get to know this person. So they're just introducing me and like the final decision, the final call is like mine to make. So, like this is what I've heard, like it's better because they really like vet that person. They really, you know, like do that background check. And sometimes like in love marriage, I feel because you're like on those, you know, like get this dopamine and endorphins and you're just so happy, you're so in love. There are times when you miss out these things which like come out later.
But do you also think that your age has a factor in that? Like the fact that your parents are very relaxed about you making your decision, taking your time to really get to know that person, not rushing. Is it potentially because they feel you have a bigger window?
I think so, yeah.
Right.
So I'm 26, so I think even they feel like I have a lot of time. If I take like a year or two, it's fine. Like I'm going to be 28 and that's like not too late for the society. So I think that's also a factor.
Yeah, definitely. I think I agree with Priyanka here. If you are like, let's say in your early 20s, you do have time according to society to go out and meet people and decide. But let's say if you are hitting 30s or in your late 30s, then society is always on your head that, oh, you're late to this, you're late to that, you might have kids, you might not have kids because, you know, your biological clock is ticking and all of that. But honestly, the thing is that all of this is already on your head and you have to decide amidst all of this, who's the person for you. There's a 90% chance you will actually make a bad decision because you are taking a decision because you are running out of time. Like I can just talk about myself here. I never really cared if I'm late to life, if I'm late to marriage, if I'm late to have, late to like just being a mother. Because I really tell myself that it's okay. Like I'm going to give myself time, find the person and, talk to them, understand that person, what kind of life we want to live together. It's really important for me. And just because I'm hitting 30s, that doesn't mean that I have to tick marks all the boxes. Also, I would say that a lot of parents look at it as an achievement when you get married. As soon as possible, you have kids. You're like, oh, इससे पहले आपने बच्चे निपटा दिए, so nice. Oh, we can play with our grandkids. I can understand. I think it is sort of an achievement, but for me, the achievement is to actually live a life where you don't lie to yourself, live a life where you're happy, the other person is happy, and you live on your terms, basically.
Like this is what I tell them, like being married, having a wedding is not the goal. You need to have like a fulfilling, healthy marriage. That's the goal. So if you wanna like tell me, okay, after one meet, you're gonna like, you have to decide. I don't think in the long term, it's a good plan to have.
Do you think also because your parents were the ones who identified this person, and usually it's like through some connection or through someone they know, that there is even more pressure to see that through because it was like their selected match, right? Like their pride is also tied up in you choosing that person. Like they have a bias ki, matlab, don't you feel like they would also kind of take credit later on, humne chuna hai and we're very happy with this person?
Yeah, see, there are two ways about it. So when you know that your family is not the person for you, so you know ki, oh, they have already, like you said, done the background check, everything, they do the family. So there is no chance they could go wrong, right? So now you have to see the other small little parts, whatever it is. That's just between you and the boy. There's another part of it when the match has come from like, somewhere within the family circle. So yes, you do have the pressure actually. Yeah. You do have the pressure because every word which comes out of your mouth in from the guy or in the family, that is going to your family too. So you really have to choose your words wisely, what you talk. I come back home and I told my parents and they asked me about the meeting, how was it? I was like, oh, it was good, it was pleasant, all right. First meeting, so nothing much to say. And I'll meet you more and decide. My parents were like, oh, so what all did you guys talk about? And then I'm receiving calls also. Oh, how was it? So you think the whole family got involved within just 2 days. So now you're also anxious. You're like, oh shit, I have to perform. For the guy, for my family, I have to perform. And I'm sure, but the thing is, as soon as I tell my parents, also, we were talking about this thing and I said, oh, I do not drink so much now. But I do whenever I have to, right? And okay, fine. Next day, everybody is like, why did you say this? They could reject you. Maybe, sometimes the mother might not like it. Maybe guys also would judge you. Then I was like, okay, if they do that, then I think it's not good for me. Because I will have to tell him later, right? I'd rather tell him this right away. And if it's such a big deal for him, then it's fine, If he doesn't want someone who's not a drinker, look for one.
Actually better that he finds out earlier.
Yeah, and no offense. If guys want to find someone who doesn't drink, it's okay. So that was really surprising for me because I spent my Saturday and Sundays thinking, did he really do something wrong? Did it really affect him? And then after certain kind of period passes and it did not affect him. They got back and they're like, oh, they want to meet the family. His parents called my parents and they were like, oh, let's meet. And also because the whole procedure was happening so quickly, it really makes you anxious. At least it made me anxious because there's this thing that, you really not catching the train. The train is passing. Everybody else is on the train, but you're just someone, standing outside the train and running towards it. So I really, really tried my best to catch the train and sit actually in that train with my family and other people, the guy with his family. But yeah, I think that's where I stopped actually. I thought, let it pass. It's okay. I'll just go with the flow. And I did tell my parents that I don't think it's actually coming from inside. And it's good to know that sometimes even the guy you're meeting and your family, they're always not on the same page. Because here my family's talking to me that, no, you actually, how can you decide? It's just a single meeting. Oh, we just met twice. It's fine. Give it time. Talk to him every day. It's like my morning will start with my mother. Did you text him good morning? Did you And then I was like, oh, maybe you should just forward me a good morning, those WhatsApp photos. I can forward it to him. Oh, aapki subha bahut achhi ho. And then, yeah, my mother's like, no, there are these tidbits, beta, you have to do. You have to be a romantic. So you see, I was realizing if every time people have to tell me, be this.
Exactly.
You're not being who you are.
Exactly.
If it's not coming naturally to you.
Exactly.
You don't have,
if he likes you while you're being a fake version of yourself or you're performing, then he's never going to know the true you.
Yeah.
But he's going to know that later.
Right.
And then he's like,
this isn't who I expected.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the thing was that they liked me so much, he liked me so much. But my liking was a little too less. Like, I have to say this.
Like, you don't have to convince yourself. Like, if you're convincing yourself to like somebody,
Exactly.
You mentioned that that feeling didn't come from within you and you weren't sure that you wanted to proceed. So what were some small things that maybe he did during your meeting or before or after that made you feel like, you know what, like this isn't really for me? Were there particular things which you did not really felt aligned with you, what you were looking for?
I'm a talkative person. Also, when I was meeting, I was told that you do not talk over him, let him talk. And this was also like, I went to this meeting and I was like, okay, Nandita, you don't have to talk over. But I don't talk over also.
No, you don't.
But I was like, yeah, but it's a good thing that I have to let him talk because that's when he will feel included and counted. I have this quality that if I talk to anybody, I just make them feel instantly comfortable. So I knew this, that if I was not this person, maybe this meeting would have been pretty awkward for both of us. But you see, this meeting was not awkward at all.
Because of you.
Yes, guys, I really want to give myself the credit. Maybe it was not, but yeah. Honestly, throughout the meeting, he was laughing. And then you know what? When I told all of this to my mother, and she was like, sometimes some guys are like less talkative, they are shy, it's okay. It takes time. Maybe you have to push him. And शादी की बात तुम उसे push कर देना, तुम उसको इस तरह mold कर देना, सब हो जाएगा. And then I was like, oh, wow, another project I have. Mold him that way. The thing is that we don't want to mold you in any other way. We don't want to change you in any other way, guys. I mean, we don't want to do that. I think
parents are supposed actually. Like people don't change. You can't change someone fundamentally.
You don't change. You literally don't change. The only thing you do is you start caring for the other person. Like, let's say if I'm like a person who's very chirpy and talkative, you will listen to me. I mean, and you'll also like talk to me if you like me so much. Definitely. Maybe you'll make efforts. I'll also make efforts. But I understand. The thing is that when two people actually meet, it's always like a teamwork. I'm sure some days I want to give only my 10%. But bro, now it's your time to do the 90%. Because on days when you'll be giving 0%, I swear to God, I will give my 100%. Because it's a teamwork, right? So I also kind of felt that it was not about me at all. It was all about him. I kind of felt that. And also because my family made it like it was not about me. And they just kept saying, it's okay, we'll give you time. Bro, that's the least you can do. To give me time. And even if I'm 30, that doesn't mean that you're giving me time, that's a lot. Also because it's about the other person. If I am lying to myself, I'll be lying to him too. Let's just say I swear to God when this is happening, I really told myself that, since my family knows them so much, I think I should really take a decision and say yes to him. And देखा जाएगा शादी की बात कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा, right? I was thinking this. Because family is good only, boys also good, it's fine. But I actually thought really long time for the very first time in my life. I was like, okay, Nandita, now you're married to him. Everything happens. Scientifically, a person could only act for 3 months, 4 months, right? Yeah. That's why people say, give him like courtship period thoda lamba, thoda sa 3-4 ka kar lo, uske baad shaadi kar lo. And then I was like, dude, okay, 3-4 months I'll be like total same. But after 3-4 months, I will definitely lose my sanity. How much will I have? Because I'm sorry, his life, my life, my family don't. And then I just go to my family, I tell them that it's not working, it's not happening. And of course, it was like, they were really sad about it. They were like, you did not try enough. They just kept saying that he too liked you, but you didn't try enough. I was like, you don't have to try. When you have to, like, these things you don't try at all. The thing is, you only try when you are together, you marry, you try being together every day. But if I have to try in the certain initial stages, not try, really have to make myself feel something. I don't think so we have to do that. And you're definitely lying to yourself. Never do that.
Chandra, how has your experience been?
I haven't really undergone the arranged marriage process ever, but I think this was the first year when I kind of turned 25 that my parents spoke to me more openly about my plans for the future and how I sort of foresaw this next stage of my journey. And the first question they asked me was like, number one, do you have anyone, or would you like us to start looking? So I really appreciated that they sort of talked to me openly and asked me if they, if that was something that I wanted them to do, right? I could very well say, no, I don't want anything right now, and they would have been fine with that. So I was like, I'm open to meeting people. If you find anyone really nice, I would never like kind of turn that down at that stage in my life where I'm happy to be meeting interesting, cool people. Like max to max, I'll make a friend, and that's great too. Yeah, and I guess I realized a couple of times, like after they suggested a few people, some of them were really nice, and then some of them I was a little bit like, I think maybe I wasn't as clear about the things that I wanted, or maybe our definition of what I was looking for in a person were still not aligned, because I was like, wow, this isn't at all what I had pictured, for myself. And I was so surprised that they pictured this person for me, them knowing me so well. Did they really think I could gel with this person in the long term? I think now they're not really doing anything. And I think there's like this American influence, I think, in my family where it's much more left to you. It's very much to your devices. I think they're more chilled out because they're like, they themselves met in their 30s at college, So to them, I think it's not a big deal. And so that's kind of the other side of the arranged marriage spectrum, like where you're literally on your own and your parents are not really that involved at all. But I think it's important to be open with your parents, and I would not ever want to lose myself in trying to please other people in my life. Just because this was so-and-so's nephew or whatever, and like, unko khush karne ke liye, I'm gonna like force myself to have feelings. And like, I also felt like sometimes weirdly, like if I was going to meet someone, that I was constantly thinking about, oh, what are they gonna think of me? What is he gonna think? What should I say to impress him? What should I wear to impress him? Like literally wore like a salwar kameez, like, which is, yeah, that's me too on some days. But like, I also was constantly in my head thinking like he's gonna evaluate me, right? And as a result, I forgot to consider the fact that I'm going to evaluate him, right? Like, why am I so concerned about what he thinks of me, when really I should be worried about what do I think of him? Do I even like him? Or am I just having these feelings because I tried so hard to make him like me?
This reminds me when I was meeting his family for the first time, and my family was meeting his family for the first time. So we met in a restaurant, and I remember like my parents were like, you should at least comb your hair that day. I had to decide about wearing. I was like, oh my god.
Have you decided more?
What are you going to wear?
Okay.
I'm just talking to my sister and I was like, hey, I'm not going to wear any salwar kameez. Not even a sari. I'm going to be just like, be myself. Because that's what he wants me to be, right? But my sister was like, your call. Then I was like, no, I think you should only wear things which look good on you. Like, So with me, it's almost like every day whenever I wake up, I'll be like, oh, so when will I feel more confident? Even if it's a pajama and it's making me feel confident, I will wear it. And I do that. And then, so that day I just wake up and my father just like, what are you wearing? I was like, oh, I'm just wearing this dress. And then he was like, I hope it's not too short. I'm like, oh, it's not short at all. Do not worry that it's like a maxi dress and everything. And yeah, he's like, oh, I hope the color is nice. I hope it's complementing your skin color. I was like, yeah, it is actually. I have wore that dress like 5 times this month. This time is the charm. I thought. And then that day I went to the salon. I blew dry my hair. I put on makeup. I'm not a makeup girly. I put on makeup, and dude, I was looking so good. I was like, and after meeting the family and everything, I really told my sister, do you want to go out? I look really good today. Okay, guys, listen to me. I know I look good. Actually, this is the thing. Not to be overconfident or anything, but if you really tell yourself that you look good, you're the best, you will look good. And I was also going through this guilt. Am I being too selfish? Like by saying, now that I'm 30, my parents are already feel tired, that, oh, they were like, it's the best family, it's the best guy, we don't think you get better than this. Scarcity mindset. So when they tell you you will not get something better than this, absolutely take that thought, roll it in a paper, and I don't know, throw it so far away that no one can reach it. I did that because I tell you, only you can tell yourself how better you are and what you deserve, what you do not deserve, honestly. But yeah, I was telling my sister, I woke up next morning and I was telling my sister how to decide, and she was like, just think about yourself. And I'm thankful I thought about myself. I thought about myself on the same day I called him, and I'm telling him that everything was good, it was amazing, you are an amazing person, wonderful person, thanks for laughing. Like, whenever you wanted to. I'm sure I was funny. And he was like, no, bro, you're so funny. I was like, I know. And I was like, but anyway, it's not coming from inside. I'm sorry. He's like, I kind of knew this was coming.
But that's the other thing. Like, why would he want to be with someone who doesn't feel compelled to be with him, right? I mean, that's a disservice to himself.
Exactly.
Even if you do say yes, even if all your families like pressure you both, somehow he's also like compromising, and so are you, right? Like, even if he loved you, I still would not want to be with someone, even though I love them, if they're not into me.
Exactly. No, he was appreciating with the fact that I told him.
You were honest.
Yeah. So I go to my parents, I like, see, you don't have to look for anybody for now, it's fine. Let it go. I'll just see whatever comes to me, I'll find someone for myself. And they're like, oh, if you've not found someone by now also, how will you even find someone like now later? I was like, no, I think now I know, maybe. Because thank God this process happened to me. Now I know what I should not be doing. I'll do whatever will work for me. And that's how it's going to be. They're not really talking to me about any guys anymore. That's a good news.
I think I have a very positive, like a positive picture of arranged marriage because of like how my parents dealt with it. So I think our generation is such that even if you're making wrong decision, we want to know that it's our decision. Like we want that autonomy. We want to feel in control, like we're like in the driver's seat. So like obviously I told my parents, like I had a conversation with them. Like even before that, I was in the UK and he kept asking me, like, did you find anybody? Is there somebody in your class that you like? And there wasn't anybody back then. Again, like he understood that he has to like look for a guy for me. So he asked me like, what all are you looking for? So I told him like he should be like a 9 to 5 person. Like if he's an entrepreneur, if he's like a business person, that's like better for me. Like I would prefer that. And there were like other things as well. Like I was out for like I was in the UK for 2 years. I wanted somebody who's also like traveled around. So I told him like few of my non-negotiables and things like must-haves and good-to-haves. Like even then, like when we're getting these biodatas, like they never like forced me to like meet somebody, or like even if I was meeting somebody, they would never force me to like talk to that person or do this, do that. Like this is gonna look better. I never felt that pressure from them, and I think like that's the reason why I felt like this is working for me because I felt like I'm in the driver's seat. Like I have a choice.
Yeah, you came to this with all your heart and mind.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, it's a good feeling actually. To go with open heart and open head.
But that's because of some bad experiences
Yeah.
that you had, right? It's hard to grapple with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't call it like bad experience, but it's also it's a learning for me because everybody tells you that these are your parents and they only think good things for you. They want good things for you. So you also know that because since you're a child, they choose the school for you, they choose the kind of food you eat and the kind of friends you make, and then after some time, their intervention is pretty much less, and suddenly the intervention is so much more when it's about finding a guy. So you also get used to that procedure that honestly, this is the time where you have lost touch, they have lost touch of who they are and who you are.
Right. And sometimes we don't even know for ourselves. So even to do that exercise to be like, what do I want in a long-term partner? And like even write it down and be like, what is it that I feel would be complementary to?
Exactly. And for some people it works like, you meet someone and you're like, I did not know, I was looking for something like that. But
like going back to the conversation we were having, like would you want to be with somebody like from the beginning or would you want to like explore? So I think for me, like I would want to explore, like I have explored and I know like the things that I do not want at all. So I think that also like helped me in this whole process because I know what I want and what I don't, which I think more important.
Definitely. I think there's a joke. It's a joke with me and my sister. She calls me Dora the Explorer. Yes, definitely exploring. Not tired. Never feel tired. I don't think I should be tired. Always exploring because if you know you have something to offer, you know you will be offered something in return.